We got some rain today. Only 10 minutes of hard rain. And then the sun came out. I was telling Tony earlier, he said he was going to rake some, he needed to borrow a rake so he could burn some. I said, you can't burn under a burn ban. He goes, it's going to rain. And I said, I know it says it's going to rain, but when you're under a burn ban, it doesn't matter. Even if it, this is the thing, even if you stand there and you're with your water hose, the whole burn ban thing isn't necessarily, I mean, it's a burn ban. But I tried to explain to him, I said, even if you stood there with your water hose and you watered everything down around it, that's not talking about the stuff that's floating up that's got heat to it, that will land somewhere else where somebody's not standing with their water hose. That's the whole point. We could burn all kinds of stuff all day long here if it was not a burn ban, and we knew, though, that we just stand. Oh, it feels like a cool breeze, like a fresh breeze. Anyway, I said, no, you cannot burn. But that was nice, and I was just thinking, if it would, even if it only wanted to rain, like it wanted to pour, because it poured kind of hard. The drops were hard drops for 10 minutes, nonstop for 10 minutes. I don't even know if it was a full 10 minutes. I really don't know. It might not have been a full 10 minutes. But even if we could get that every day without sun beating back down on it and frying it, because that's why they tell you not to water your gardens in the middle of the day. You know, water them early morning hours so it dries off the leaves, or do soaker hoses, or in the evenings. But you don't want the sun beating down and frying, and that's what happens on the grass when it. Now, right now, our sun is not the summer sun, so praise God for that. Anyway, I got hay and feed in the back of my truck. I need to get to the barn. Yes, Emma. Yes, Emma. Yes, Emma. I wish she was Rohan. I've already looked at Craigslist pets for ginger kitties. And then I found a couple of different places that had some kittens, little ginger kittens. And I put it out of my mind because we're leaving next weekend for just our overnight one-day trip while they work in the bathroom. Hopefully that still comes to fruition. I haven't heard from Ted, but usually he doesn't make a plan and then not stick with it. And then we have like 2 weeks in between when we leave again to go on our kind of 2 or 3 day trip to Arkansas. So I was like, well, that's a lot of time to leave a kitten. So let me wait till I get home after those trips. Then our trips are over and we're just back to regular everyday stuff. And then get a baby. A little baby yellow ginger kitty. So I can have another love snuggle muffin in the couch with me at night and stuff. Because I miss him so much. You know, I did that. I was just looking the other day at that little short I did. And I'm thinking, even now, sometimes those memories on Facebook pop up, and I've got so many memories with him. I didn't even put them in that little short, just other things with him. And all these cats, and he was the same. You know, he did the same thing. I raised him in the house. He got to some certain age where he darted outside one day, stood on the porch looking all scared, like he didn't even know what he's supposed to do out here. And he'd run back in the house. And then the next day, he'd do the same thing. And eventually, he'd mill around outside. And then come the evening, he'd be waiting at the door. If I didn't go out to get him before he came up, he'd be at the door waiting to come back in. And he spent his nights in the house. Rohan wasn't a He didn't mess with the bird. He just didn't do bad things. These every other cat that I've had, every cat right now that we've got in this house. I had Trixie. None of you guys ever got to meet Trixie. She was a rescue, and I mean real rescue. Like found on the road, and people thought it was a baby possum till they walked over and picked her up, and she was a beat up. People had burned her. They had, I don't know, I don't know if they tried to set her on fire. I don't know. She had a big old, almost, it was a wound in her head. She had burns. Now, granted, she could have walked through a little fire, I guess. That might not have been done by people, but the wound on her, I don't know. She was mistreated and not treated well. And I didn't want her because she looked Siamese. Now I've got two that out here in the yard, outside cats that are basically some kind of Siamese in them. They're not full bloods, but she wasn't either. Her tail was weird. She had a short tail. Not short like this. It was, where a cat's tail might be, what, a foot long? A foot long's kind of a long tail. Rohan had a long, skinny tail. His tail was probably longer than a foot. Maybe like 13 or 14. I don't know if it was that long. It was long and it was skinny. Trixie's tail was like about 10 inches long. It was real fat. It was so weird that it was so fat. Maybe something, I didn't think her tip of her tail didn't look like something had happened to it, like she'd lost part of it. But you know how the first part of their tails are thick until it gets down to the, it's thick and then it gets down to a thin part at the end. Hers was just thick all the way, then it nubbed off. So maybe something had happened to a part of her tail. I don't know. I felt like kids had been mean to her or something. But that's just me. I didn't want her though. And I tried to make an excuse. And I said, I have a doctor's appointment today. If you haven't found somebody by, this evening when I dropped, because it was people on my bus. And, when I come back there, she stood still holding her. She'd given her a bath. Got a bunch of fleas off of her, tried to put some ointment on her head. And the whole way home, that kitten was up on my shoulder to crawl across my back to this side. And I kept thinking, God, I hope I can find somebody who wants this cat. I did not want her. And she was mean. Even though she was crawling all over me, when you go to touch her, she... So when I got home, I fixed some soft food, mixed with a little bit of milk in a bowl, put it in the laundry room, put a little cat box in fact, the cat box was, how your canned goods come on that little, like if you wanted to buy a whole case of canned goods like at Walmart or H-E-B or whatever, it's in that little cardboard, the walls are that big. I had one of them. I covered it in foil. I didn't know what else did. I covered it in foil. And, or maybe I put a trash bag in it. I may have put it inside a trash bag. Maybe. Anyway, then I poured cat litter in it. Then I put a little bowl of water in there. And I shut that laundry room door. And that door stayed shut for, I don't know. I think sometimes I've said a week, but I didn't leave. I mean, I was in and out. It's not like I never went in there. I was in and out, and I changed her food, and I cleaned her cat box, and if she was mean, she would go up behind the dryer or up behind the washer. Wouldn't, like, I'd have to scope her out in there when I would go in if I couldn't see her. And then at some point one day I went in not even thinking. I come out, put clothes in the dryer, and come out and didn't close the door. And later I'm sitting there watching TV, and my chair, where it sits right there at the end of the lip, kind of in the, where it sits into the hallway. And I heard that where something's crawling up your chair. And she popped her little head over and come over and got in my lap and lay down. It was like from there on she was like, okay, I've had enough of being alone. Here I am. And she was most wonderful thing. She was here before Rohan. Rohan may have been somewhat of a rescue. Why she was here, But she started doing the same thing. She would come out the front door and look around all scared to death. But Trixie's problem was she would get up on things and couldn't get down. I mean, like, she'd get on top of the camper, and then I have to put a ladder up there and go up and get her down. She'd get on top of the roof of the house, and I'd have to get a ladder and get her down. And at one time, I still had that tree, and it's not there no more. And I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I was still doing a video. I was doing videos then when I took the rest of that tree trunk that was on my back deck down, and now it's sitting on the outside of my deck, and I got them flowers shoved in it, which it's starting to rot now. I need to just get rid of it. Need to roll it on over that burn pile. But it was on my back deck. Daniel cut it the rest of the way, but it still left it above the deck where you couldn't put deck boards. So me and Dad did as much cutting on it as we could to get it below the deck boards. That tree, it was a pecan tree, but it was leaning since Hurricane Ike. It had been leaning. I had it cut down, and they left a stump. Then Daniel cut the stump out. I don't think they wanted to be... Hey, baby.
Yes.
What?
I've been drinking a coffin.
There you drinking?
I've been drinking a coffin.
Drinking and coughing. Well, that's good. You need to cough.
You know, just stuff out my throat.
Get it out.
Hmm?
Get it out of your throat, baby.
Yeah, my lungs.
Yes, out of your lungs. You're right.
That stuff is bad.
Yes, it is. Anyway, when that tree was still there before it was cut down, I went up and nailed a cross board, like a 2x4 across this way on it, where the height of it was meeting the porch roof. And then I laid a 1x12 up there, and it went from that board I laid across to the porch. And I thought, and then I did another one a little bit lower, but it was mounted only on the tree. Because I thought if she would come across from the porch, walk down, it's like a catwalk, I don't know what else you'd call it, and come to the tree, then she would see the other one down below, and she could just go down to it. And then from there, she could just jump to the steps of the back deck. She didn't do it. She'd hang out that front, her little bell dingling, and cry and cry and cry till I pulled a ladder up and got her off. She did it every time. I did all that work. She wouldn't do it. But I loved her so much. And she fetched. First time I realized she would fetch, I was making my bed, and all of a sudden there was a bow off one of the Christmas presents. Sorry. Off one of the Christmas presents from the tree, under the tree. It was laying on, and I'm like, where did this bow come from? And I'm making my bed, so I tossed it just like toward the door, so when I got ready to leave the bedroom, I would just pick it up and go back. She must have been in the hallway, because all of a sudden she come running back with it in her mouth and jumped up on the bed. And I said, Trixie, did you do this? And I tossed it off the bed again, not thinking. I was not thinking fetch. I was just making my bed. She jumped down and got it and come brought it back. And I was like, oh my gosh, this cat fetches. Oh my gosh, this cat fetches. Later, I found out that it is kind of a trait of Siamese cats. They will fetch. These two I got don't. But she did. And I thought it was so funny that I named her Trixie. I named her Trixie from Levi's Country Bears movie. The only female country bear was Trixie. That's why she was named that. But I thought it was funny that it fit her once I realized she did tricks. She was a trick cat. Anyway, I'm trying to think. I probably had Rohan, but he was little. But one night, and I just get mad at myself. I get really, really mad at myself when I think back at different things. You know, like you do, and you think, gosh, if I had just done this, that would not have happened. And it's the most horrible feeling, and it sticks with you forever when it leads to a death. She was laying in this chair. Well, you can't see it right now because this wagon is here. The chair right there by the front door. She was laying in that chair when I got ready to go to bed one night. And I said, come on, Trixie. And she just look up at me and look away. I said, Trix, come on, let's go to bed. I should have just snatched her butt up. I get mad at myself because I didn't do that. But I should have just snatched her up and took her in the house. I didn't. I said, you want to stay out tonight? And I couldn't believe she was just ignoring. Look at me and then look away like I'm doing this. But the next morning when I woke up, the chairs were knocked over. Things were tore off. I had, I'm trying to think if it was fall or Christmas, but there was decorations. They were all tore up on the porch. And she was gone. I never seen her again. And I believe with all my heart that dogs, strays, come up on the porch. Maybe she was out. Maybe she was out in the yard using the bathroom and something come walking down the road and seen her. I don't know. Maybe they chased her up here. I kind of, well, I started to say I find it hard to believe dogs would just come and mess around on my porch for no reason unless they seen something. But my cousin Debbie with her two dogs have been on my porch 2 or 3 times lately, and they're not doing anything but playing. This 2 mornings in a row, not this flag, but that little throw that's on the back of that chair has been out in the yard. And one morning when I was like, what is that in my yard? And as I opened the door, they were running back to their house, but my throw was here. A couple of mornings after that, the throw was just here, but I didn't see them. But one morning, this wagon was sitting here with stuff in it. Not groceries, but like stuff I'd cleaned up and picked up and put in here to go to the dumpster. And they were in. One was in, and one was in this cart, and one was trying to get in. It's the mama and the baby, I believe. They already had torn stuff up. It was all torn up on the porch. Anyway, I come out screaming and hollering, and they went running back. So, I mean, I guess dogs will, but you know, whatever came up here was determined to get her, and they got her. And it breaks my heart every time I think about it because I let that happen. No, they weren't my dogs and blah, blah, blah. And she was basically, she'd never been outside. Well, she'd been outside a couple nights when I couldn't get her down off something and it was late. I just let her stay out on the camper top. I mean, it was covered. Even if she was on the camper, it still had a cover over it. So if it had rained or anything, she would have been safe up there. But this night, she was right here, and I could have just snatched her butt up and brought her in the house, and she would still be with us today. But, I don't know. It's just things happen. Sad things happen. Anyway, I am, it's getting later and later. I want to do something.
My sad things happen.
I want to do something. I want to remodel my laundry room.
Sad things happen.
I know, baby. I want to get a stackable washer and dryer. I don't want a new stack. I don't want those new ones with the round doors on the front. I want my washer to be the kind that you still open the top of it. I don't think I want them smart washer things. And probably some of the newer, even those with the top load, even though it's a stackable, it's a top load. Even maybe those are. But I looked at it's a 3.9 cubic foot washer and a 5.9 cubic foot dryer, stackable, with the lid still on the washer that's on the top. It was a really, really good price at Home Depot. And I thought, man, that would give me about 33 inches, maybe more. I don't think quite 36. Somewhere between 30 and 36 inches. It would give me a free space beside the washer. Well, when one's not there, you know, when they're both here, then you get this space over here. And I thought I could pull them out, give them to Tony, because he probably has old ones, probably really old ones. And my dryer's fairly old, but my washer's kind of just, maybe 2 or 3 years old. I could give him those. Then I could pull everything out of the laundry room, take the rack down, the shelf down with the hang thing, take all that out, paint the walls, because right now they're just that wood. They're the wood paneling color that was in this whole house. Just paint them, brighten it up in there, put either some linoleum down. You know, I've already replaced the floor, made it really nice and hard. It's got 3/4 inch. I did it like the bathroom and the planks, but some of them are painted because I was thinking I would paint the floor, which I still could paint the floor, or either put some tiles down or just a piece of linoleum. Paint the walls, put something down on the floor that makes a nice floor, and then have the washer dryer stackable brought in. And when it's brought in, then I was thinking of putting one kitchen cabinet base beside it, maybe a 24 one. I think I would like drawers, all drawers. That could keep all the stuff, or maybe just a drawer in the bottom and 2 doors, and that would be all storage underneath it. Maybe that would be the best way to go. But anyway, then leave enough room for put a top on it, but the top comes all the way over and basically almost touches the washer. So it's between the wall and the washer, the whole top. But what it leaves is that 36, 30 inch, whatever, but I'm only filling it with 24. That leaves dead space under there for the laundry basket, because my laundry basket doesn't sit in the bathroom. It's kind of out in the open. I didn't want it like that. So I could just tuck it under there, because right now it sits out against the wall in the laundry room, but it makes it hard when you're just walking through. And then I could put just one short rack for hanging and a shelf above it for few items that are like that you want to keep up out of the way, which I really don't have that much that I keep up out of the way up high. But I just feel like I want to do that. And it's such a simple job, because I'm not going to be putting the washer and dryer in. I would have Home Depot do that. But before it gets here, I would have the walls painted and a floor down. And then after that, it's just pull in a cabinet, paint it, put a top on it. You know me, I'm just probably going to put a plywood top on it, stain it, and polyurethane it 2 or 3 times. And then I would have this perfect little, because I've already kind of put it out of my mind of changing the laundry room to the back. I'm pretty content with that mudroom the way it is. It's holding everything that I need it to hold. And if I put a washer and dryer out there, then there would be things that could not stay in the mudroom that would have to find another home. And I don't want them to, because I want them to be kind of in a climate controlled room. Anyway, it's just something I was thinking I kind of really want to do it. I kind of really want to do it. I don't think I'll do it before we leave, because next week might be kind of busy. Steph's already sent me a text wanting to know, did I want to do Caden's mom, or did I not feel like it, or do I feel like I'm too swamped with stuff? I kind of am swamped. But I told her I would go tomorrow to Hobby Lobby and see what all they have. I don't want to go all the way to Michael's because it's all the way in Humble. I will go to Hobby Lobby. I didn't do it last year, but I think the year before I did him, Connor, and Elora one. Last year something was going on, and I think she asked me kind of late, like you had 2 days. But if I go to Hobby Lobby and get everything, which in the past I've been able to just go to Hobby Lobby and get, even when I'm trying to think who were the last few that graduated. We didn't have a Hobby Lobby close to us like we do now. We would go in, but I did do Mom's, even for some of the older ones. For Buddy and Tony and Jake, Dustin, any of them that needed Moms, Bree, any of them that needed Moms back then, it was Michael's. And then you usually have to stop at Kroger and buy because Kroger made Moms, and you could buy letters and stuff if Michael's didn't have your letters for your name or the word homecoming or whatever. Nowadays, you can buy the ribbon that already says homecoming on it. And you can buy the letters and things like that. Then, I don't remember the last few, but Hobby Lobby was where I would get everything at. in Humble. But now we have a Hobby Lobby here, and I got everything for 2 or 3 years ago when I did them. Couple of times in a row I did them, and then maybe he didn't have a girlfriend one year, and he didn't care to have a mom. Because the mom is for the girl. Except Connor wears one on his arm, and I get Elora one. I make Elora one. Anyway, she asked me, did I feel like I had the time to do that? Hand is cramping from holding the phone. And I said, let me see what they have at Hobby Lobby tomorrow. And I let her know. So I might be doing that this coming up week, which really just takes a little bit of room in my kitchen with everything sprawled out on the counter. But I also need to get the lumber ordered for the bathroom when Ted and them come to do it. And that's this next weekend. This weekend, and now next weekend will be that weekend. So I need to get all that stuff ordered and make sure it's here for him. So I don't know. It might be putting a little extra on my plate. Not to mention Levi need meds every so often. Like right now, yeah, it's 5:30 right now. I need to go in real quick and give him his afternoon, or what they call evening meds. I don't know. It's just round the clock. And then there's still mom and dad's. So tomorrow also, when I leave here in the morning to go to Hobby Lobby to see if everything is there because if I have to travel around and go here and go there, I don't want to tell them no. I really don't want to say no, but it would be a little bit more difficult if I have to drive around trying to find all the pieces to make a nice mum. But I'm supposed to have we didn't stop. When we went to eat at Mama Mia's, I planned to stop at Home Depot and get the toilet flange and the elbow and the glue. But when we left there, I really had to just hook him home because, you know me, I didn't want him to have to wait for his meds. And as it was, we got home at 1:30. I took his meds out of the refrigerator, and by 2:15, that was 45 minutes, they were ready to administer. But I don't want to make him wait for them. I want them to come when it's the time to come. I want 24 hours, give it. 24 hours, give it. I don't want it to go 26 hours, 25 hours. I just want it every 20. Anyway, that's just me. Anyway, I got to get this truck pulled out because I backed in because it was raining. I got to get it pulled out so I can unload the feed and the hay and get it to the barn and get everybody fed up. And I got to give him his meds real quick. So I guess I'm going to go. I guess I'll see you guys later. I love y'all. God bless you. I'll see you later. Remodel. I might get 2 remodels in the next few weeks. Right here at this house. Exciting. All right. See you later. Katie, I'm trying to do a video.